Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori, Jaya Kishore Kishori. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Subhadra. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Jai Om Vishnuvad Brahmansa Parivajagacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ब्रह्म मध्व गौड़ीय संप्रदाय आचार्य गुरुवर की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की गौ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयौदीरये शृण्वन्ता स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनम् हृदयन्तस्तभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया नित्यं भागवत सेवया ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. So today we will be serving Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam from Canto 10, Chapter 63, entitled The Battle with Banasura. And today's verse in chronological order is 47, 48, and 49. So we will all repeat the first verse that is displayed on the board here, and 48 and 49 I will just read them quickly. Avadyoyam mama piyesha Vairochani Suta Asuraha Praradadaya Varodatto Navadyo Me Tanavyaha Avadyo Vayam Mamo Pesha Vairochani Suta Suraha Praradadaya Varodatto Navadyo Me Tavanashya Vanayah Avadyoyam Mamayapiyesha Vairochani Suta Suraha Praradadaya Varodatto नावद्यो मे तावनावयः अवद्योऽयं ममयप्येष वैरोचने सुतसुरः प्रह्लादाय वरो दत्तो नावद्यो मे तवान्वयः नावद्यो मे तव नावयः माताजी वैरोचनी सुतो सुरः प्रह्लादाय वरो दत्तो नावद्यो मे तावनावयः. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the Vaishnavas and His Divine Grace. Avadhyaha, not to be killed. Ayam, he, mama, by me, api, indeed, eshaha, this, Vairochani Sutaha, son of Vairochani, Bali Maharaj. Asuraha, demon, Praladadaya, to Pralad, Varaha, the benediction, Dattaha, given, Na Vadyaha, not to be killed, may, by me, Tava, your, Anvayaha, descendants. I will not kill, please repeat, I will not kill this demoniac son of Virochani, for I gave Prahlad Maharaj the benediction that I would not kill any of his descendants. The next verse, 48. Daropapa samanasya pravrikarnabaho maya suditam cha balam gori yaccha bharitam bhuvaha. It was to subdue Banasura's false pride that I severed his arms and I slew his mighty army because it had become a burden upon the earth. Verse 49. Chatvarosya bhuja sishta bhavishyati ajaramaraha parshada mukhyo bhavato na kutaschit bhayo asuraha. The demon, who still has 4 arms, will be immune to old age and death, and he will serve as one of your principal attendants. Thus he will have nothing to fear on any account. So, Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurum militam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manoyabhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta पदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सगणललिता श्री विशाखान् वेदांश्च आराध्य भगवान ब्रजेश तनयस तद्धाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधुवर्गेण तया कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवत पुराणमलं प्रेम कुमार्थो महान् श्रीचैतन्य महाप्रभोर्मतैदं नायत्रयाग्रह परः नवनीरदनिन्दितकान्तिधरं रससागरनागरभूपवरं शुभवङ्किमचारुं शिखण्डशिखिं भज कृष्णनिधिं व्रजराजसुतम् राधिका सरोदैन्दु निन्दिमुखमण्डली वन्द्ये श्रीपादपद्म वृषभानुनन्दिनी वन्द्ये श्रीपादपद्म वृषभानुनन्दिनी वन्द्ये श्रीपादपद्म वृषभानुनन्दिनी कदाचित् कालिन्दी तटविपिन सङ्गीतरवो मुदावीरि नारी कमल स्वाद मधुप रमा शंभु ब्रह्मा गणेशर्चित पादो जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भव तुम्हें आजानुलंबित भुजो कनकाय विधातो संकीर्तनै पितरो कमलायताक्षो विश्वम्भरो द्विजवरो युगधर्मपालो वंदे जगत प्रिय करो करुणा अवतारो पतित पावन निताय गौर सुंदर की जय। यस्या प्रसादात् भगवत प्रसादो यस्य अप्रसादात् न गति कुतोऽपि दयांस्तुवांस्य स्त्री संध्यां वंदे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम्। Hare Krishna. My obeisances unto all the assembled Vaishnavas, my hundreds of obeisances and thousands of obeisances to our Gaudiya Acharyas. May the words that emanate from my mouth be pleasing unto them and to the assembled Vaishnavas. So, today we will be actually in chronological order serving Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam from chapter 63, wherein Lord Krishna fights with Banasura, the demon. A little bit about the history, very briefly, so that we can get a good grip of today's verses. Banasura was the eldest son of King Bali. And who is Bali Maharaj? Bali Maharaj is the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. Although they were born in a demoniac family, starting from Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, due to Prahlad Maharaj's devotion, pure bhakti was granted to Prahlad Maharaj. He obtained it by the mercy of his Gurudev Naradji. And therefore the benefits were reaped by the future generations of Prahlad Maharaj. Banasura was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and he had actually pleased Lord Shiva by his artistic quality of playing the veena. Veena is a musical stringed instrument, and he was such an expert that Lord Shiva used to love dancing when he played the veena. Sometimes we find that a good singer or a good dancer qualities are enhanced or complemented when there are good players. Like even if we find that somebody may be a very, very good dancer or a singer in kirtan as an example, but if the musical instruments are not that great in accompaniment, then the kirtan doesn't sound so great. But because Banasura was such a great Veena player, Lord Shiva, who is known as Nataraj, Nat means dancer, and Raj means the king of dancers. And when Lord Shiva danced, he went into a trance. And what was this trance? Pure Krishna consciousness. He danced for the pleasure of Krishna. So this is something that we all have to follow in the footsteps of the great devotees. Dharmasva tatta nihitam guhya mahajana jena gatha sapanta. The principles of true religion are very confidential. But if we follow in the footsteps of the great Mahajans or the great devotees, then we will be successful. So, one principle that I can bring to surface is that whenever we do some seva, it should be purely for the pleasure of the acharyas, the associates of Radha Krishna and Radha Krishna. It should not be an entertainment or a performance to please the public. So, whether it is kirtan or katha, one should do it, or even a performance like dancing, one should do it for the pleasure of Krishna. And if we keep that principle within our hearts, then never ever shall pride enter us, or never ever shall any kind of thoughts where, oh, there's only like 5 people in the temple room, I'm a big speaker, why I should do katha? Or I'm a big singer, let some bhakta do the kirtan, and when there is 100 people gathered, then I will come and take my seat. So then that is not the purpose of kirtan katha or any kind of activity related to bhakti. So Lord Shiva was an expert dancer and Banasura played the veena. And because Lord Shiva kept on dancing and he kept on playing the veena so expertly, non-stop, without tiring. Sometimes we find that in kirtan, when there's a kirtan going on for hours and there are those mridang players, even when their fingers are bleeding, they continue and they continue and they continue. In a similar fashion, Banasura continued because he understood that Lord Shiva was in a trance in full Krishna consciousness and he wanted to complement his dancing by playing the veena. Lord Shiva, being so pleased with Banasura, he gave him a benediction, asked him, ask me, I'm so pleased with you. What shall I give you? And Banasura said, please become the guardian of my city. So generally speaking, when you have a very powerful guardian like Lord Shiva or Krishna, it's impossible for any enemy to attack the kingdom and you are safe. In the case of Bali Maharaj, when Vamandev was so pleased with him, what happened? What is the benediction Vamandev gave Bali Maharaj? That he will become the guardian of Rasatal, the kingdom of Bali Maharaj. Eternally he would guard as a gatekeeper. So similarly, uh, Lord Shiva gave the benediction that yes, I will become your guardian. Like this, one time it so happened that Banasura, he had 1,000 hands, and he approached Lord Shiva and said, Lord Shiva, I have these 1,000 hands and I'm so powerful. What is the use of these 1,000 hands if I cannot fight somebody who is worthy of fighting? So please have a battle with me. He tells Lord Shiva that. The one who gave him the benediction, this is generally what happens sometimes with asuras. Or asura means a demigod, one who is a devotee, and asura means the opposite. So asuras have this tendency, like a venomous snake sometimes wants to bite the person who feeds it milk. One time there's a nice pastime. There was a demon known as Bhasma Asura. So he performed a lot of austerities, and Lord Shiva was a devotee of Lord Shiva. What's interesting is most of the demons' ghosts are devotees of Lord Shiva. And one may wonder why. Because Lord Shiva is Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu. He is the topmost devotee or the topmost Vaishnava. And Vaishnavas are full of compassion. We say this every day, Vancha Kalpataro Vescha, Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha. The ocean of mercy. A true Vaishnava is an ocean of mercy. Those who are rejected by the society, by the people at large, nobody wants them. Lord Shiva accepts them. That is the magnanimity. And all great devotees have that quality of compassion, like His Divine Krishna Prabhupada. When he came to the United States, and when he stayed in the Bowery 1965-66 in New York, everybody had demoniac and in the mode of ignorance down there, the hippies. Prabhupada writes on the Jaldu that how will I make these people in the Western world understand the message of Srimad Bhagavatam? They are in the mode of ignorance and passion. O Lord of the universe, O Jagat Guru, please make my words emanate so that whatever I speak, they will be able to understand. So out of full compassion, Prabhupada stayed in the Bowery in the worst areas of New York. And he accepted everyone, whether it was a drunkard, whether they were addicted to drugs. Same qualities we find in Lord Shiva. How many of us, whether the top book distributor or the top chanter, if you know for sure that a ghost has entered the room, will you stop and have a chat with him for Krishna consciousness or give him a book? One will run. Because we have not developed that compassion within our hearts. But Lord Shiva has accepted all of them. So in this case, another little pastime. Bhasmasura was a devotee of Lord Shiva and he performed a lot of penances. And when Lord Shiva was pleased, he appeared and said, what can I do for you? And he says, grant me a benediction that I will never die. Just like Hiranyakashipu had that same wish, and Ravan had the same wish. All these great demons, they always wanted to become immortal so that they could be the God. They could become God. He says, I can do that. So finally it boiled down to some negotiation. And he says, grant me this power that whosoever I touch with my finger on the head, they will explode. Bhasma. Bhasma means they will become ashes. That's why he was known as Bhasmasura. So Lord Shiva said, okay, tathastu. So be it. I will grant you. And then he was very happy, felt very powerful. He became very arrogant. And then Naraji appeared at that time. And he says, ha ha ha, Narad, I just got a benediction from Lord Shiva. And I'm going to try it on you. And Naradji said, are you nuts? Are you crazy? This man that you call Lord Shiva, if he had those powers and if he was such a great mystic, why would he stay under a banyan tree? He doesn't even have proper clothes to wear. He doesn't even have a house to stay. He dances like a crazy man. And you think that the benediction that he has given from a crazy man is going to work? So then he says, why don't you first, actually, he wanted to try it on Lord Shiva himself. I'm sorry, I made a little mistake here. I apologize. It is not Naraji, it is Lord Shiva that he said, now I'm going to try your own benediction on you. So Lord Shiva started running. And then Naraji came. And Naraji then stopped him and said, what's going on? Lord Shiva said, I just gave him a benediction and here he's after me and he's going to turn me to ashes. So he said, okay, don't worry. So he then has this conversation with Bhasmasura that you're listening to some crazy man. Why don't you do one thing first, try it on yourself and see if it works. And he put his finger on his head and he went into ashes, Bhasma. So similarly, he asked him, please guard my kingdom. You're so powerful so that nobody can defeat me. And then he challenged him to a battle. And Lord Shiva, who is very, very great Vaishnava, one of the great qualities is not only compassion, but he's extremely patient, Lord Shiva, and extremely tolerant. We find that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the case of his father-in-law, Daksha, where he was not invited to the sacrificial ceremony, to the yajna. And in spite of that, he just kept his calm and his portion was not there. Although all the Devi Devatas, all the Devas were there, they had a position. But he is Mahadev. Lord Shiva is known as Mahadev. In spite of that, he was not given that position, but he was very quiet and calm and he did not react to it. But his wife reacted, Sati. And eventually we know in that pastime that Sati, she burnt herself in the fire because of her father's actions. But Lord Shiva, he said, no, I don't want to do a battle with you, but your pride will be shattered soon when you meet your equal in battle, and your chariot and your flag will fall to the ground. So this is what Lord Shiva said. And if a pure devotee says that, then it must happen. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. Whatever Guru says, then that will definitely, it is supposed to be taken to heart. It will come to fruition. So, Krishna's grandson Aniruddha, he actually, this how this battle started is because Banasura had a daughter by the name Usha. And Usha, in her dreams, she would have, this is amazing, it's mystical. Every day, a meeting with Krishna's grandson, Aniruddha. Krishna's son, Krishna's grandson, Krishna's great grandsons, they're actually non different from Krishna in one sense. They're very beautiful, handsome. So she would engage in a romantic affair in her dreams with Aniruddha, the grandson of Krishna. Aniruddha is the son of Pradyumna. And who is Pradyumna? Pradyumna is the son of Krishna and Rukmini Devi. In Dwarka, Krishna married 16,108 wives, and amongst them, the principal wives were, the principal queens were Rukmini, Satyabhama, Jambati, Mitravinda, etc. So the son of Rukmini and Krishna is Pradyumna, and Aniruddha is the son of Pradyumna and Rukmini. Sometimes we wonder in Srimad Bhagavatam when we read, there are so many details about the family and the lineage and the pastimes. Why is it so? The answer is given by the gopis, which is in the Pancha Rasa Maha Adhyay, the 5 main chapters of the 10th canto, which is full of nectar. And one of them is Gopi Geet. And in that, the 9th verse, the gopis say, Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimatatam Bhuvi Grinanti Je Bhurida Janaha. The gopis say, Tava Katha Amrita. O Krishna, your pastimes, the narration of your pastimes are Amrit. Mrit means death, and Amrit means the opposite, deathlessness. So when we hear the pastimes of Krishna or read the pastimes of Krishna, they take us to deathlessness, to the eternal abode eventually. Because at the time of death, we will be able to remember those pastimes. When we chant the holy names, what is the most perfected way? We all find that our minds are always wandering here and there, even when we try to sit down in one place and chant. So the perfection of chanting the holy names, the process is given by our acharyas. And it really works. We think while we're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. With every syllable, we can think of a pastime of Krishna. And once we get so deeply engrossed in that pastime, our minds will never wander. And when we are habituated that at the time of death, whatever our consciousness is, we will obtain it. Yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam tajeti ante kalevaram. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So whatever your consciousness is, the time of death is, then you will obtain that destination. One who thinks of me will certainly come to me. So it is not just some kind of a mundane history, or some of the historians who wrote history books, they say that this is all mythology. It's a shame in India, when we were in school, we studied in one of the best convent schools in India. And the historians, the history and the geography books were written by the British. And this is what they said. Even today, if you go on Google or Wikipedia and you try to Google a pastime of Krishna, or Krishna's expansion, like Lord Ramachandra, how many times the word mythology appears? It's a shame. And now it has been imbibed even in the people of India. They call it mythology. The young generation today argue with their parents. They say that, who has seen this? This is all mythology. What does mythology mean? Myth. I think it's a Greek or a Latin. It comes from Greek or Latin. Myth means imaginary. So all this is not imaginary. This information is real. And when we hear it, it is for our purification. So, Pradyumna is the son of Krishna. Aniruddha is the son of Pradyumna and Rukmavati. Rukmavati was the consort of Pradyumna. And Aniruddha's son was Vajranath. Who is Vajranath? Vajranath is the great grandson of Krishna, by whose mercy today we have these deities in Vrindavan that we take darshan of, that were re-manifest to our Goswamis, like Radha Govindev ji, Radha Gopinath ji, Radha Madan Mohan ji, Radha Raman Dev, and Srinath ji, Gopal Nath ji. They were all actually ordered by Vajranath, the great grandson of Krishna, to be sculpted after asking his grandmothers, what did my great grandfather look like? So some describe the lotus face, some describe the lotus, the strong chest of Krishna, the waist of Krishna, the thighs of Krishna, the lotus feet of Krishna. And then in his meditation, when he sat, he told the sculptors, please, this is what my great-grandfather Krishna looked like. And hearing the description, the expert sculptors carved those deities. And today we have, even in Dwarkadish is the main instrument is the great-grandson of Krishna, Vajranath, the son of Aniruddha. So Banasura's daughter Usha, she always used to have these dreams, and then finally she spoke to her most confidential friend Chitralekha. And Chitralekha, understanding her Usha's heart, she had some mystic powers. So she finally found Aniruddha in Dwarka and brought him to the kingdom of Banasura, Sonitpura, to Usha, her best friend. And Usha was so pleased to have her lover with her. But then some of the maidservants went and told Banasura that Aniruddha is in the inner chambers of Usha. No male can really go into the inner chambers of a woman in the Vedic culture, especially in the royal order, in the royal family's palace. And when Banasura heard that, he was extremely upset. And he actually sent his servants and his soldiers to capture Aniruddha. But Aniruddha is none other than an expansion of Krishna, and he is also very powerful. So he defeated them. But then finally Banasura used the Nagpash. Nagpash is ropes that are actually mystical, made of snakes. And that is I believe, a benediction from Lord Shiva, a very powerful weapon if you want to capture or tie an enemy. This Nagpash was also used by Indrajit, the son of Ravan, to bind who? To bind who? Hanuman respected that because it was a weapon from Lord Shiva. So otherwise there is no way anybody could, when Hanumanji burned Lanka and he created so much havoc, nobody could catch him. So finally Indrajit, the son of Ravan, he used the Nagpash. He took his arrow, said some mantras, and he sent it on Hanuman's way, and then it turned into snake ropes. So similarly, Aniruddha was captured by the Nagpash, and then he was taken prisoner. So in this particular chapter especially, when Aniruddha did not return back to Dwarka, everybody was in full of anxiety. What happened? Where is he? Where is he? And then Naradji came and said that he is prisoner in Banasura's kingdom. Banasura has captured him. So then Krishna, along with Lord Balram and the Yadus, meaning his entire entourage with his great soldiers, including Pradyumna himself, the father of Aniruddha, they went and attacked the kingdom of Banasura. And Lord Shiva, he fought on behalf of Banasura against Krishna. Now that is so amazing. Most people will not understand why. Why would Lord Shiva fight against his own master, Lord and Master whom he worships? There's another wonderful example that comes to mind in Ramayana. There was a battle between Hanuman and Lord Rama. Did you all know that? Have you ever heard that? One time, in Ayodhya, in the palace of Lord Ramachandra, everybody was assembled. The great Brahmins, the ministers, there were great devotees like Naradji, Vasistha, Vishwamitraji, and all those great Kripacharya, etc. And the discussion came up. And Lord Ramachandra was there, right seated on the throne. Bharat, Shatrugna, Lakshmana, Hanumanji, Mother Sita, the full assembly. Question came, who is more powerful? Is Lord Ram more powerful or his name more powerful? So everybody said, Lord Ram, of course. And when they looked at Ram, Ram did not say anything, he was silent. And Hanumanji said that it is Lord Rama's name that is most powerful. So everybody disagreed in the assembly. So Naradji told Hanuman, do one thing. Once the assembly is ready to leave, like always, we all bow down to the great rishis and the Brahmins. You bow down to everyone except Vishwamitra. Don't bow down to him. And Hanumanji was like, why? I mean, like kind of with an expression. He says, just do what as I'm saying. So when they were all ready to get up, Hanumanji offered his respects to all the Brahmins, to all the other rishis, except Vishwamitra. And then Naradji goes and stands next to Vishwamitra and whispers in his ear, did you see how Hanumanji treated you? He bowed down and paid respects to all the other rishis and all, even the Brahmins, but he didn't offer you obeisances. And Vishwamitra was known for his anger. So he went to Lord Ram, says that I am ordering you to kill Hanuman right now. And Lord Ramachandra was surprised. Why, Gurudev? Because he was a guru. He learned all his art of warfare from Vishwamitra. He says, this Hanuman, this monkey, has insulted me in front of everyone. He offered his obeisances to everyone, but he did not offer me obeisances. And I'm ordering you to kill him. It's the order of the Guru. With a great heavy heart, Lord Ramachandra took out his bow and arrow and started shooting arrows at Hanuman, and there was a battle. And Hanuman simply chanted the name of Ram, 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 and none of the arrows of Lord Ramachandra could even touch him. Lord Ramachandra tried the topmost astra, or the weapon known as Brahmastra. That even failed. Lord Ramachandra was himself surprised that how can this be? How can my weapons fail, especially Brahmastra? So then Naradji came and stopped. He says, this is the point that I wanted to prove, that the holy name of Ram or Krishna is more powerful than the personality. And that's so true. And that is the reason when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It is extremely powerful, even powerful than we can say, although it is Sri Krishna. But from the point of purification, from the point of compassion, from the point, because it is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nam Sankirtan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more merciful than Krishna. He is the Avtar, who has approved this mantra for Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has mentioned that in the Chaitanya Sastastakam first verse, that this holy names will give us the highest victory. So they had a great battle. Lord Shiva fought. And Lord Shiva was accompanied by his son Kartikeya. Kartikeya is the brother of Lord Ganesh, Lord Shiva's brother. So he is also very powerful. And a lot of different mystic sages and ghosts and different demons, they took up arms against Lord Balaram and Krishna, and they began fighting. And Balaram's son, the son of Banasura, Bana, he fought with the son of Lord Balaram, Samba. So there were so many great warriors in there. Pradyumna, the son of Krishna, Krishna himself, Balaram's son Samba, excuse me. And on this side, Lord Shiva himself, Lord Shiva's son, Kartikeya, all of them, but Lord Shiva defeated them, sent them scattering. Even Kartikeya was defeated by the son of Lord Balaram, Samba. And like this, when finally Krishna shattered the chariot of Banasura, at that time, and its flag came down as the prediction was by Lord Shiva, when he was so arrogant and said, give me a fight. And Lord Shiva said, somebody will be there very soon to give you a fight, and your chariot will be destroyed and your flag will fall. And that exactly happened. At that moment, he was just about to be killed, and at that time, Banasura's mother came and stood in between naked in front of Krishna and Banasura, and Krishna could not see that, and he turned his face away. And at that time, taking that moment, Banasura escaped into his city. And then later on, Banasura returned again to attack Krishna with his thousands of hands wielding different kinds of weapons. But Krishna took his Sudarshan Chakra and began cutting off the demon's arms. And at that time, as that was happening, Lord Shiva approached and started praying for the deliverance of Banasura, so that Krishna can forgive him, to spare Banasura's life. He said Banasura doesn't deserve to die. Srila Prabhupada mentions in his previous verses, since he was born in the family of Prahlad Maharaj, Krishna himself accepts that. And he says that I have severed all of his hands, 996 hands out of the thousands, but I will leave him with 4 hands. And I destroyed those 996 arms just to destroy his pride. And I've annihilated his army because they were a burden on the earth. Paritranam sadhunam vinashayati dushkritam dharma sanstapakaya sambhavami yuge yume. Bhagavad Gita. So, because they were a burden on the earth, I have destroyed the army of Banasura. But henceforward, he will be free from old age and death and remaining fearless in all circumstances. He will be one of your principal attendants. And thus, Banasura was spared by the mercy of Lord Shiva's prayers. And then Banasura offered obeisances to Krishna and asked for his forgiveness. And he eulogized Krishna. And then he returned with a lot of respect Usha, his daughter, and Aniruddha seated on a wedding chariot and brought them before Sri Krishna. And then Krishna set off for Dwarka along with his grandson Aniruddha and his granddaughter-in-law Usha. Some of the things that really, I will end this with some prayers of Lord Shiva, maybe 2 or 3 that are really amazing, which are captivating, and hoping that this will actually always be the principle in our hearts to attain pure bhakti. Krishna says, Lord Shiva says in this chapter, in the previous verses, that one who has attained the human form of life, it's a gift, and which is so true. Prahlad Maharaj says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Kaumaram acharat pragya dharman bhagavad iha durlabham manushya deha tadapi arthadam adruvam. Kaumaram acharat pragya, right from the age of 4 or 5, from childhood, one should take to this Bhagavad Dharma iha. One should take to this Bhagavad Dharma, or take to Krishna consciousness. Why? Durlabham manushya deha, because this human form of life is extremely rare. So someone may ask, but it is still temporary. What's the big deal? But Prahlad Maharaj says, clarifying that, Tadapi arthadam adruvam. Although it is adruva, dhruva means permanent, and adruva means impermanent. So even the human form of life has got a certain lifespan. It is not permanent. Adruvam. But tad api arthadam, although it is temporary, one can obtain the highest, which is pure Krishna consciousness in this human form of life. One bhajan comes to mind by Govindas. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanar Vindare Durlabha Manava Janama Satsange Tarai Bhava Sindhure. Bhajahu re mana Sri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanar Vindare. Oh my dear mind, Govindas is instructing his mind. Please worship the son of Nanda Maharaj. Durlabha Manusha Deha. It is extremely difficult to get the human form of life. Tara Bhava Sindhure. Once we have obtained this, we can easily cross over this ocean of knee science. Tara Bhava Sindhure. That we have fallen into. Lord Shiva is saying, yet one who fails to control his senses and one who fails to honor your lotus feet is surely to be pitied. For he is only cheating himself. See, these are the words of Lord Shiva. I think it is the previous 41st verse in this chapter. We are cheating ourselves if we engage in material activities, thinking that we are going to be rich, we are going to be happy, we are going to be this, with that. It's simply we are cheating ourselves if we do not respect or we do not approach the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. The mortal who rejects you, Lord Shiva says, his true self, who rejects you, the best friend, because you are the best friend of everyone for the sake of sense objects, whose nature is just the opposite, refuses nectar and instead consumes poison. Krishna is indeed the best friend. Bhoktaram sarva yajna tapasyam sarva loka maheshwaram surut sarva bhutanam gyatma mam shanti richati. Krishna himself declares that in the Bhagavad Gita. That surut sarva bhutanam, I am indeed the friend of all. And is it not true? In every birth that we take, wherever we go, He's always with us like a true friend, situated within our hearts as Paramatma. We may lose our friends, we may lose our family, we may lose everything. We may lose all our possessions. No matter whether we have performed bhakti or not, whether we even we know about Him or not, He's always, from the end to Lord Brahma, He's always with us within our hearts as Paramatma. And He's always with us, just not in one life, but since time immemorial, the eternal best friend. And Lord Shiva recognizes that fact. And one who rejects them, they are taking poison. Narottam Das Thakur says in one bhajan, Hari Hari Vifale Janama Gainu Manusho Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabha Jiya Janiya Shuniya Vishakhainu Janiya Shuniya Vishakhainu. Hari Hari, oh Krishna, Janama Gainu, I have wasted my whole life. My whole life is gone. Hari Hari Janama Gainu, Manusha Janama Paiya, I obtained this human form of life. Radha Krishna na bhajiya, I did not worship Radha and Krishna. Janiya Shuniya Vishakhainu. Although I have heard from devotees, I have known this fact, I have taken poison. So even after hearing about Krishna's katha, and then if we are not very sincere in our spiritual lives, then suddenly we are taking poison deliberately. It's like committing suicide. So like this, I end this today's discourse with the essence that Krishna agrees with Lord Shiva by saying that I will not kill the son of Vairochani. Vairochani is Bali Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj's son was Virochan, and Virochan's son was Bali. That's why it's called as Vairochani in this verse, the 47th verse. Because I gave a benediction to Prahlad Maharaj that I would not kill any of his descendants because of his devotion to me. When Prahlad Maharaj, when Hiranyakashipu was killed, and Nrsimhadev Bhagavan was pacified by Prahlad at that time. This is mentioned in the 7th canto, I think it's chapter 9 or 10, where Prahlad pacifies Lord Nrsimhadev with his wonderful prayers. And after Nrsimhadev was pacified, he said, ask me a benediction, Prahlad, I'm very pleased. And Prahlad says, what is that to ask in this material world? I just saw my father being just killed like a wasp. Tavakara Kamala Varena Kam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringa. Bringa is like a little fruit fly. Sometimes when you touch on a very ripe banana or a mango, you try to remove a fruit fly, you just try to touch it and it will die. Similarly, you just killed my father, Hiranyakashipu. Hiranya means he had all the gold and wealth. Unimaginable. Kashipu means he had all the comforts. All the comforts that one can imagine. He was the Lord and Master of the three worlds. He had conquered the heavenly planets as well. And you simply killed him like a little fruit fly or a wasp. What is there to ask, my dear Lord? He said, yes, I'm pleased with you. Please ask me. And then he says that, yes, if you do want to give me something, my demoniac father, please purify him. He says, that is already done. I've already granted this because of your devotion. 21 generations in the past and in the future, they will all be liberated and purified. Oh, Prahlad. That is not even a benediction. It has automatically come to you because of your devotion. So a point here that I would like to quickly make is sometimes I've seen that devotees ask this question, that I have joined ISKCON, I have joined this Krishna conscious movement, but my parents, my friends, they have segregated me. They're not so friendly anymore. They don't accept me. What about them? So after trying your best to preach to your family or friends, and even if that does not happen, please do not worry. Just look at this example. Prahlad Maharaj, because he was a devotee, his generations were purified. So similarly, Krishna is within our heart. He knows that we do care for our friends, our family. And if we take to Krishna consciousness nicely, and we, follow the path of pure bhakti, without asking, Krishna will automatically take care of them. And this is again repeated here in the 47th verse. In the 47th verse, it is a repetition about this wonderful benediction that he had given Prahlad as Nrsimhadev. Here Sri Krishna, Dwarkadish, is speaking about his promise as Lord Nrsimhadev that he had given to Prahlad Maharaj. And it is only due to his smashing his pride. I smashed all of his soldiers and I severed his 996 arms, because they were a burden on the earth. And Krishna also does that to us sometimes when we get very arrogant. Although we may be devotees, he will smash us because he wants to make sure that when we die, at some point, we are in a pure consciousness. Power can be very dangerous. Whether it is the prime minister's or the president's post, for the country or for the temple, as a matter of fact. If one has pride, Krishna will take care of those persons for their purification. We have seen many persons as a revolving door, they have come. They don't want to give up their positions. Like we see that most of those devotees in the past, we see in history, they were Raja Rishis. They were kings who are rishis. They were devotees by heart. When the time came, they would simply give up their kingdom non-attached, and they would give it to the next descendant in line without attachment, and then be more involved in their Krishna consciousness, go to the forest and become more and more involved in their tapasya, in their bhakti. So what have we learned? As an institution, we all have this lesson to learn. Someday, if we are empowered by our authorities to, let's say, run a temple, president, council, whatever head of the department, we should only do it for the pleasure of Radha Krishna. And when the time comes, step down. Engage in your own bhakti nicely. Train somebody else so that they can take over. Because administration can become a problem sometimes with our own sadhana. We cannot chant properly, we cannot do so many things. We don't read, we don't attend the lectures, we don't do so many activities that we are supposed to do to enhance our Krishna consciousness. And then along with that, sometimes pride comes. And then automatically you're kicked out. So many times we have seen that many of them, they don't step down automatically, and something happens, Krishna smashes their pride and they are out. These are facts. So that is the reason Krishna says, although you may be a devotee, but be careful. I will smash your pride like he smashed Banasura's pride. But he did say that I'm leaving 4 arms in the 48th verse. And you will be immune to old age and death. I'm giving you that benediction. And you will serve Lord Shiva as an attendant. What a great benediction. If Krishna were to grant us a benediction, what is better? To serve them directly, or Krishna says you will eternally serve Prabhupada? I would personally choose latter, to eternally become an attendant of Srila Prabhupada. So, that is a very, very great benediction, to become an eternal attendant of Lord Shiva. Thus, Banasura will never have to fear for anything. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to His Divine Wish, Srila Prabhupada. Is there any quick questions or comments or corrections? So, I'm very pleased to be here again at our Sri Sri Kishore Kishori temple. It's been a long journey, almost 34 years, and always happy to be here. This is my home, away from Hare Krishna. Thank you.